Okay, hey everybody. Welcome to Getting Started with Data Science. So I'm gonna lead you guys through some simple installations and some configurations to get your machine ready to start doing some high-powered data science. But yeah, so first thing first, let's navigate over to our terminal. Okay, let's grab that, make this a bunch bigger. All right, so most importantly, to data science right now is that you gotta have Python, right? So if you have a Mac, it probably is already pre-installed on your computer. So if I just type Python dash dash version, and you get some output, that means that Python is installed on your computer. If you don't get any output, it might not be. However, the output that you get is likely different than the output I have here. That's totally fine. This might say 2.7 right here. That would mean that like you have Python 2.7 installed on your computer. I have Python 3.6, but the important part is this thing right here. It says Anaconda 4.3, yada yada yada. So basically what this means is that I'm right now using Python installed via what's called the Anaconda distribution. So the Anaconda distribution is awesome. It's huge it's huge in the data science community. So basically, what Anaconda is it's like a wrapper for a bunch of data science packages and modules. So you only have to install one big thing that has most of the things that you're going to need in the future, as opposed to installing them all individually. And what ends up happening if you went down the individual route is like you may not have a dependency for something, so you want to install it, but you have to install this dependency, and that has a dependency. So it basically takes that takes care of that whole problem for us. So the first thing we're going to do is get Anaconda. All right, so pretty simple. Let's just go to install Anaconda Python. Search that in Google. Let's see what's going on. Dun, dun, dun. And let's click right here. Downloads. Great. So this is Anaconda. It's put on by a company called Continuum Analytics. They're awesome. They put out a lot of good stuff, Anaconda being one of the things. But basically, if we scroll down, we'll see two different package downloads. So here's the download for 2.7, and here's the download for Python 3.6. Okay, so if you have heard or like looked into installing Python in the past, you might have seen that there's some disagreement in the community about which Python version to use and what's best practice, this and that. I'm gonna strongly recommend that you go with 3.6. There's positives and negatives to either side, but the important point is that Python 2.7, it's not as though it's like deprecated, but it's not actively being developed anymore, and it won't be. So Python 3.6 is definitely the future. The only thing is Python 3.6 is still relatively new, so there are some packages that have not yet been ported and made sure that they work on 3.6. But there's fixes in every one of those cases, and so I wouldn't worry too much about it. Most important thing is you're up to date with what is best practice, and so that's 3.6. So the first thing we're going to do is install 3.6. So let's use the graphical installer just because it's simple. Right. So it's a pretty big package, so it might take a few minutes to install. But while that's happening, let's talk for 2 seconds a little bit about it. So there's a lot of packages that you might have heard of at some point or another. Things like pandas. Pandas is basically like handles things that are like data frames that it's gonna make it a lot easier for you to manipulate data. NumPy, for example, it has in there. There's something called SciPy. The whole SciPy stack is like a lot of high-powered statistical tools, all of the scientific computing in Python, all of that's already baked into Anaconda. But most importantly, there's at least my favorite Python package is called scikit-learn. That's like the huge machine learning library that I use like day in, day out. So that's already with Python. So yeah, all these goodies already packed in just one install. Just while it's finishing, I'm going to just quickly pause so you don't have to wait. Cool. So once that's installed, you'll see this little message right here. So you're getting a warning from Mac just letting you know that it might be harmful. It's not. Don't worry about it. Just say keep, and then click on the DMG and run through this little installation process. I'm not going to do it. I already have it installed, so I'm not going to worry about it. But as you guys go through the process, and once that's finished, what we first want to do is navigate back to our terminal, and I want to do a couple quick checks just to make sure that the installation process happens seamlessly. So first thing, navigate to your home directory. All right, so you can get to your home directory just by doing cd tilde. I'm already there, so no problem. And then just type ls. All right. So what you should see is a folder called Anaconda. So that would say that that actually happened properly and the file got downloaded. So that's great. The second thing I want you guys to check is in your it should have added a line to your bash profile. So bash profiles, a lot more to learn about those. We're not going to dive into it too much now, but that's how you can you can do cool stuff like customize your prompt and add things to your path, so on and so forth. Importantly, what Anaconda should have done was added a line to your bash profile. It's a hidden file, so it starts with a dash, but just type .bash profile. If you don't have one, don't worry about it. Anaconda would have created one for you. So once you go in there, just click the down arrow, get to the bottom of the file, and I want to see this line right here. Added by Anaconda 3 4.30 installer export path. This thing, and with this line right here where it's your username obviously. And basically what this is doing is making sure that when you type things like, so if I go type Python, it's gonna search through your Anaconda folder first before it looks anywhere else. So it's going to use that version of Anaconda as opposed to another version. So if that's there, that's right. Click Q or type Q to get out of less. And then if both of those two things are there, fantastic. It should have all worked fine. The one thing you want to do is whenever you change a bash profile, for the differences to take effect, you're going to want to restart your terminal. So I'm just going to go ahead and quit my terminal. And then I'm going to open it back up. Terminal. Cool. Now, definitely, if you type python -- version, you should see exactly the same output I have here. And that should have worked. If it didn't work, definitely comment in the thread or send a message and we'll figure it out. But that should have definitely worked. Okay, so now that's good. The one other thing I want to add is there are some cases in data science where you need some modules or some packages that Anaconda doesn't have access to. They have most of everything that you're going to need day to day, but they sometimes don't have crucial things. So for that, I want to have you guys install one other thing. It's called pip. So let's just type install pip. Boom, boom, boom. Right here. Cool. So this right here. So this is the pip documentation. Pip is basically a package manager for Python. Very everybody uses it. The typical. So if you come from the JavaScript world, this is equivalent to something like an npm. Yeah. So the way to get it is we're going to use this get pip file. So this Python file right here. So let's just go ahead and open that up. Great. So here's a Python file, and it's just hosted, online. So we need to grab this down from the internet. So if we navigate back to our terminal and we want to copy that URL. So we're gonna just go ahead and type curl and put that URL right there. And then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to write that to a file directly, and we're going to call it get pip.py. Cool. So that should have downloaded the file. Let's double check that it's there and everything's correct. Get pip. Yep, it's there. If I type less, yep, there's that file. So right here it says, hi there, you may be wondering, blah, blah, blah. You know, this is just, you know, giving us some details on what pip's doing and things. But ultimately, this is just our installer package. Again, type Q to get out of less. And now what we got to do is just, you know, execute that file. So it's a Python file, so you just execute it with Python. So, but in this case, it's gonna necessitate using the sudo command because there's some things it needs root access for. So we're gonna use sudo python get pip.py. I'm not gonna do this because I already have pip on my computer. But once you guys click enter, you know, you're gonna be prompted. You're gonna have to put in a password. Put in your administrative password for the machine, and yeah, then it should just install everything you need. Then once that's done, just to verify that that worked, let's just type pip, let's say help. Cool. So you should get an output like this, you know, just get a list of commands, just, you know, your pip help, and you know, that'll just verify that it installed properly. Cool. So pip is great. You're gonna, you know, a lot of the Stack Overflow answers and things are gonna just tell you, oh, install this package or install that package. So you're gonna probably use pip to do that if you don't have it in Anaconda already. Great. So that's really it. Those are the two main tools you're gonna need. So that's all there is for the configuration. Let's just really quickly, you know, let's demonstrate that we've installed this stuff. So here I'm gonna use a package called Jupyter. Actually, let me just run over here and show you what Jupyter is. Jupyter is an amazing, amazing project that is just beloved by data scientists all around. It's actually used for a lot of other things as well, but just, you know, massively used by data scientists. I'd recommend looking into it, and you know, you're gonna deal with a lot. You know, maybe in the next tutorial we'll do a bunch of Jupyter work, and yeah, but I'll let you guys dive into that for now. But basically what Jupyter is an interactive programming space. Like it's basically like a programming workspace. Similar to, like, if maybe you're familiar with REPL, R-E-P-L. It's basically a more advanced version of REPL. So that's one of the libraries or modules that Anaconda just made available for us. So let's just spin up a Jupyter notebook just to make sure that that worked. So if we type Jupyter notebook, boom. Cool. So it should have just opened up this on your screen, and this is clearly the directory that you were sitting in when you executed the Jupyter Notebook command. Let me just explain a few things. So if you look here, it says, yeah, serving notebooks from the local directory here. The active notebook is running at this place. So basically, like you see here, HTTP localhost. And when I come back and I jump over here to my home, that is exactly where you know, I'm sitting. So it started a local server on my machine, and this is this Jupyter Interactive Notebook. So if I want to stop the Jupyter server, I can use Control C. But for now, it started, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to spin up a Python notebook to look at. So here, if I say new, it's going to create a file in my directory, and it's this Python notebook. And since we have Python 3 installed, it's Python 3. Great. So this is the Jupyter Notebook. So I'm not going to go too much into it today. We'll do a full-blown tutorial just on Jupyter and some other packages, but just I wanted to demonstrate to you that this is one of the many things that the Anaconda distribution makes available. And since it worked, you know, clearly Anaconda worked. So that's enough for now, and you know, we'll dive deeper into it later. All right, thanks guys.